vaccination. From now on, if you can't produce a pass showing you're COVID safe, daily life could become significantly more complicated. The announcement, which the President made in a televised address on Monday, was meant to get people back into the inoculation centres, where in recent weeks the numbers of visitors have been visibly declining. And lo and behold, it's worked. It seems the French like a bit of strong-arming from their leader. Here's Hugh Schofield.
The French lead the world in many strange and unexpected domains. Nuclear power, crocodile skin handbags, big biros, ocean-going yachts, and medicine over the internet. OK, I'm not sure if that last one is strictly true. I suspect there are countries in East Asia where doctors today perform remote keyhole surgery in your home. And in the US, there's certainly some medical tech giant that's about to gobble up all the world's upstart startups. But in France, we do have Doctolib, and Doctolib is definitely a winner. A proud flag-bearer of what President Macron likes to call le French tech, Doctolib is a living example of how the joke about the French having no word for entrepreneur is funny but wrong. In conceptualizing and developing web-based markets, the French are actually well ahead of the field, and in Doctolib they have an internet tool that does something very simple, putting people in touch with doctors, but does it so well that it and a couple of imitators are essentially now part of the state health system. Which is why, when Doctolib put out a tweet on Monday evening, we all sat up and took notice. It said that in the short time since President Macron had finished giving his TV address, Doctolib had been registering new bookings for COVID vaccinations at a rate of 17,000 per minute. A week later, there was another tweet. The number of new bookings now stood at 1 million. By week's end, between Doctolib and its competitors, there were 3 million appointments made, and suddenly the government's goal of getting the adult population entirely inoculated by the end of August didn't seem so far-fetched. And all this in a country where a few months ago we were being told there was so much vaxo-skepticism, we just have to accept that perhaps as many as 25% of people would never, ever do it. What had changed was that the President appeared on telly, metaphorically wagged his finger, and told the French that if they didn't get their act together on vaccination sharpish, there would be consequences. From now on, we're all going to have to get used to having yet another electronic document about our person, the Pass sanitaire. If this Pass sanitaire states that I, the bearer, am fully vaccinated or have been through the process of getting a negative test, soon to be no longer free, then I can go about my day-to-day business of breakfasting in the local cafe, buying things at my local shopping centre, getting a train, going to the gym and seeing a film. But, the President warned, if I don't have a health pass, well, then I can't do all those things. My life is suddenly rather diminished. On Thursday, there was an article in the newspaper by someone with whom I'm vaguely connected because he once taught philosophy to my daughter. François-Xavier Bellamy is now an MEP for the centre-right Republicans Party, and his piece in the Figaro was one of outraged alarm. For the first time in French history, he wrote, we now have to produce a health certificate to be able to do the most simple daily tasks. Access to the public space is becoming conditional upon what our government knows about our bodies. How could such a revolution occur, he asked. It's a whole new model of society we're being beckoned into, in which citizens have to check the health credentials of their neighbours and get punished if they don't. Libertarians will recognise the argument. But in France, I'm afraid Monsieur Bellamy will have to concede there really has been no sign of a libertarian backlash. Yes, there were a few feeble protests against the Pass sanitaire this week, but nothing that would make you think, gosh, the French won't ever put up with that. Quite the contrary, as we've seen, they've been rushing to get the vaccine in droves. Better this, is the conclusion most people seem to have come to, better this than yet another confinement, which, according to Macron, is the inevitable alternative when the Delta wave hits, as it will, in a few weeks' time. On Wednesday it was Bastille Day, and the Pass sanitaire got its first outing. No COVID pass, no going to the parade. President Macron took the review, looking as ever confident, relaxed, young. Is this a blinder hand he's just played? Basically, he did a de Gaulle. He admonished the nation, told them to get on with it, laid down the new rules without so much as a show of hands in Parliament. Oh, and he went on to say that once COVID was over, he'd be back with his promised economic reforms. Keep moving, keep giving orders, keep dominating the agenda. If he does get elected again next year, we may well look back and say this week was when it started.
Hugh Schofield.